Welcome, everyone, to the 18th Ship of the Week. This week, we're taking a look at a particularly unusual ship type, of which few remain in existence. The specimen at hand, the freighter SS City of Everett, found herself at the center of more than her fair share of significant events. The extraordinarily busy shipping lanes, canal locks, and trade ports of the North American Great Lakes were by the late 19th century choked with ships, many towing unwieldy trains of propulsionless barges laden with manufactured materials, ore, fuel, or agricultural goods. As many in the central United States and Canada are very aware, the word lake is simply not quite adequate enough to describe these 5 vast bodies of water. And in the winter months, they are notorious for tremendous gales that can turn even the saltiest of sailors green. In the 1890s, merchant captain Alexander McDougall, born in Ireland, and noticing the poor seakeeping qualities of many barges and cargo ships then traversing the lakes, set out to develop a hull type that could remain steady regardless of the sea state. What he came up with was an unconventionally curved design, with a sloping main deck, bulging flanks, and unusual stem and stern profiles that gave the type its name, the whaleback. An early whaleback barge is seen here traversing a Michigan canal, demonstrating the almost submarine-like appearance of whaleback ships. Several dozen whalebacks were built, and not all of them were barges. Some were self-propelled cargo ships, and one rather notable vessel, SS Christopher Columbus of 1892, entering service just in time for the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, was built for express passenger service. McDougall and his American Steel Barge Company wanted to develop a substantial infrastructure for whaleback shipbuilding at Everett, Washington, beginning with the first ship that would carry a name honoring her birthplace, SS City of Everett. Built in 1894, City of Everett was 346 feet in length with a beam a little over 40 feet. Early in her career, the new ship would proudly claim her place in history as the first American steamship to circumnavigate the globe, and also, therefore, the first American steamship to transit the Suez Canal. In 1898, Everett, her freshwater tanks fresh out, sailed into Malaga, Spain, almost certainly with the stars and stripes fluttering at her masthead. City of Everett, being a freighter, carried no weapons and was not under the command of a naval crew, but there was indeed a war on by that point, and the city of Malaga, evidently out of an abundance of caution, promptly surrendered to the likely bewildered and still rather thirsty American merchantmen. In September of 1902, City of Everett was at the dock facilities of the Texas Company, now a subsidiary of Chevron, at Port Arthur, Texas, when she was rocked by a sizable fuel explosion. Many of the ship's crew were badly injured, and the quayside was burned to the waterline, but the steamer survived largely intact and was repaired. City of Everett's combination of misfortune and survivability continued a little over 2 years later, when in January of 1905 she collided with the Norwegian steamship SS Leif Erikson, destroying her and killing 2 of her crew, while Everett escaped the collision almost unscathed. Everett established herself as a footnote in much broader nautical happenings on the 23rd of January 1909, when the White Star liner Republic suffered a collision with the Italian steamship SS Florida and began to slowly sink. City of Everett intercepted the liner's distress calls and offered her pumps and towing capability, which Republic apparently refused. Republic foundered some time later, albeit after the successful evacuation of her remaining passengers and crew. The stricken ship's refusal, according to Captain Thomas Fenlon of the Everett, was to prevent a salvage claim by an entity other than White Star, although such a thing is at this point difficult to corroborate. The very slow manner in which Republic sank, and the survival of all those not lost in the initial collision due to a plethora of nearby ships rushing to Republic's aid, helped reassure the builders, passengers, and indeed the broader world of the safety of a much larger and far more famous White Star Line steamship just a few years later. On the 11th of October, 1923, City of Everett's freakish ability to escape things expired, She was traversing the Gulf of Mexico, bound for New Orleans, laden with a cargo of molasses. Nothing bad has ever happened historically to gigantic structures full of molasses. City of Everett never arrived in the City of Jazz, and her 26-man crew were lost in the sinking. It seems as though she was simply overwhelmed by the sudden onset of a storm that even her whaleback hull could not shrug off. Her wreck has not yet, as of recording, been identified.